63 times. Boys interrupted girls 63 times in the past month or so. Girls interrupted girls 7 times. And she said each of the others, the boys interrupting boys and girls interrupting boys, were less than 5. Reminder, we need to hold them accountable young, okay? Don't be like me, who grew up in a house where I was constantly interrupted by my brother and my dad. And only now as an adult am I really being able to address it. Okay? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to address it in the classroom. Don't be like, oh no, like it's too like feminist. No, it's not. Okay? We can't let them go out into the world thinking that their idea is the best idea or that their explanation will always be the best explanation.
I love that video. I have so much to say about that video. As someone who used to teach kids and teenagers, and as somebody who dealt with kids who went to mixed gendered schools versus like all girls or all boys, and did backpacking trips with just boys and then one mixed with girls too. But for starters, I just want to say this. You know, I talk about decentering men a lot. Decenter boys. Teenage boys, young boys, because we literally teach them from the day they're born that they are the most important. And then that like it starts young, y'all. He's already tired of this. Starts with the parents. You know, I talk about toxic boy moms a lot. And one of the things that I want to be really clear on is a lot of women, it's like sometimes this is like, it's like incestuous kind of relationship, and that's next level. But I would argue that pretty much every woman who has a boy is indoctrinating them into patriarchy and doesn't even realize it. I have caught myself, you know, as an aunt, and not just the boys, the girls too. We parentify the girls and we infantilize the boys. Boys will be boys. And they literally think that way until the day they die. So when I talk about this, I don't want you to other myself like, oh, you moms are doing. No, I, as somebody who has been a teacher and I'm an aunt and I have lots of friends with children, it's what I've observed. It's what I've caught in myself. So this is like a deconstruction thing that comes from within. And if you're not working on this and you have children, you are creating the next generation of entitled men and pygmies. You are. I mean, like on some level. Like I think every woman, if you are raised as a woman, you're going to have some level of like, you're on the pick-me spectrum. Nobody escapes patriarchy without that. You have to, even if you don't date men, it's with your dad, your brother, your coworkers, your friends, something, because it's a survival mechanism, right? It's a trauma response. How can you not be in that mentality, knowing the violence of men, knowing that men have been the gatekeepers to survival? Well, they've been the biggest threat to our survival, but they're the gatekeepers to money and everything, right? So it's like we have to love these people who unalive us. Like, it's so crazy that we literally like marry and fork our oppressor. And yet, until we could have access to money, what choice do we have? So then we birth the next generation because we don't even question this stuff because, you know, it's we're all mind forked, right? And so, for instance, a kid's birthday party of a friend, I think they were 3 or 4 year olds. I've given this example before, but it was I was like, wow, because the mom of the girl whose birthday it was like, watch the girls and watch the boys. Watch how the girls are treated differently than the boys. And all the girls went and got their little cupcake and peeled it and ate it and cleaned up after themselves. And all the boys just sat there and waited for mom to serve them their cupcake. And then they didn't clean up after that. They're helpless. Why are they helpless? It's not because they're dumb or incompetent. It's because their moms are just doing it for them without even thinking. And I think a lot of moms don't even realize how much they're doing this. And the dads are just as responsible, okay? I'm saying the moms because, you know, this is in us too. But the dads are role modeling incompetence. The dads are role modeling, I don't know how to work. You know, I may fly jets for a living, but I don't know how to turn the washing machine on. I don't know. Like, it's so crazy that they expect us to trust them with all this stuff when they don't know how to do the most basic crap like wash a plate, right? They're just lying. They're lying, right? But watching how at 3 years old, these boys already learned that the helpless, mom will do it for them. Those are the same, they're going to be men one day who are going to be like, right? And so I'm not going to blame women for patriarchy, but we are the foot soldiers of it. We carry it on. And the more we're aware of it, the more we can stop doing it. I have caught myself so many times as a teacher and as, the friend, an auntie being like, oh my God. Like, I caught myself treating girls and boys differently. Okay. So like, I'm just saying, I don't know how any of us are not just doing what we know. But so we got to deconstruct before we can create something different. And the first step is awareness, right? And I was so fortunate, thank God, to have been raised in a house without men or boys, right? So unlike a lot of women I know who have brothers, they didn't watch their mom prioritize their brother, love their brother more, treat their brother differently, parentify her and baby him. I never saw that. I wasn't interrupted all the time by a brother or a dad because I was in a home with my mom and my sister and my female toy poodle named Fifi Marie Hamlet. God rest in peace, Fifi. So I did not see women being treated differently than men in my home. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. So boy, was it an awakening when I, in school being like, well, I know that I can do whatever I want. I know that I can take care of myself. It never occurred to me that women can't take care of ourselves. Are you interested now? It never occurred to me that I would have to depend on a man for anything because that wasn't role modeled for me. My mom took care of everything. Single mom, right? So I knew from a young age that men were obsolete and that, I didn't really need one. What a great message for me to right out of the gate. That's what I learned. And yet, because I was raised under patriarchy and had daddy issues and also just like any human being, wanted love, and all the things. Of course, then I still was on the like pick me cool girl spectrum. I was more in the cool girl part where like, I'm not going to date you, but I got to be the friend that all the guys think is amazing. So when I was leading trips, I have so many stories about being a raft guide and just watching gender stuff. I caught myself being unbelievably sexist as a raft guide. I remember I would always assume that the men were going to be better paddlers up front. I figured that they, because they were physically stronger. Boy, did I learn the hard way. These men were the worst paddlers because they don't listen to instructions. They have this individualist mindset and this audacity to think that they know how to get this boat down the river in class 4 water, even though they have no experience whatsoever. And surely because they're a man, they know more than this bird from the back, barking orders, nagging at them, right? And so they go like commando, or I'm like forward 2, and they're like, they do a C stroke, which means they would turn the boat with each stroke, and I'd be like, no, I need you to go straight in, right? And they just do whatever they want. It sucked. I felt so unsafe on boats with men that were in the front, and they always wanted to be in the front. And so I started punishing them. Now, I learned really hard that the women may not be as physically strong, but they know how to use leverage. So actually their paddle strokes could be just as powerful as any man because they know how to do this instead of using just their arms. Same thing with climbing and anything else. And I also learned that they actually listened because they were scared, as they should be. This water will kill you. First day on that river, someone died right in front of me in a private boat. So I knew right away, this is dangerous. I don't want anyone dying in my raft. And I really learned my lesson hard when I took a group of 6 women who were on like the freaking row team. That was the best boat I've ever had. Best boat, teamwork, in sync, right? So the boat's not doing this, it's doing this, gliding through the water. These women were amazing, and that's when I was like, never again am I putting a man in that front, unless I get the sense that he respects me. because the women are the only people who seem to be humble enough to listen to instruction and not think they know more than me. And this mindset starts when they're young. It starts so young. So those men who literally put my life in danger on the water and the lives of the entire boat and their own lives, that hubris, that cockiness starts when they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. That's why we got to, like, some men are beyond help. They do not care. Their ego is so big that it literally probably will only take maybe a life-threatening situation for them to ever question themselves. Or maybe, the threat of dying alone, they may be like, maybe I shouldn't treat women this way. But, maybe they'll learn. But I want us to focus more on our future generations. This starts young. So it doesn't matter if you don't have kids. If you're in any position where you deal with children, teenagers, young men, stop letting them interrupt you. Stop babying them, right? Because how on earth does a man who has never rafted in his life, in a life and death situation, still thinks he knows more than this woman who has been down this river hundreds of times and has been through swiftwater rescue training, has a wilderness first responder, has all this training, and this man thinks he knows more than me. This kills people. This literally kills people. I mean, besides domestic violence and all that, this is what puts so many people in danger all the time, is because men think they know more than women in every situation. And they make terrible leaders. And they think that video that woman that I stitched in before, it says that these boys are interrupting her. Not only are they interrupting the other students, they're interrupting her. But it gives me so much hope if you go watch that whole video, that she finally called it out because she was like, this is messed up. But the other girls had noticed it. And that the data that she showed was a girl had been like, this seems unfair, and started collecting data to prove the boys are interrupting 63 times and the girls are interrupting 7 times each other and 5 times other boys, right? Like, she came with stats, and I love that. That gives me so much hope. When I listen to my nieces, some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth at such a young age is stuff that I didn't say until I was in my 30s. I was like, dang. So I want there to be hope in my message, and never just like, fuck, blah, blah. But I also want, not only want to have hope, based on what I've already seen, but also things to think about and change, because otherwise this is just we're all going to fall into learned helplessness. Well, who cares? Let's have fun till we all die. And so one of the things I noticed when I was teaching, that I always wanted the boys' approval more than the girls. I always wanted I was such a cool girl, even as a teacher. And that was very disturbing. I remember being like, oh my God, why do I care? That's why I started realizing, as a teacher, in the outdoors, as a raft guide, as a ski instructor, as all those things, the thing that is best for everyone, the thing that's best for me, the thing that's best for everyone's safety is to not need to be liked. Oh my God, he's sighing so loud. He's like, God. Not needing to be liked. Not being nice. Because being nice is so violent sometimes. And I know this as a Southern white woman. God. I've talked about this in other videos. I don't care if I'm a bitch. I'm kind, but I'm not nice. And as a teacher, I start, you know what I mean? I'm respectful, but I just wanted to be liked so bad. And that's what being on the river taught me right away. I was like, which was, I think, maybe having the stakes so high. I realized this right out of the gate. And someone had told me, a teacher had told me, who worked with students. He was like, stop trying to be liked. You need to be respected. And if you start off needing them to like you and needing their approval, whether you're a teacher or an aunt or a mom, needing the approval of this child, they may like you, but they don't respect you, and they're not going to listen to you. And so as a raft guide, I thought, okay, I'm the teacher. I'm the leader here. It is my job to keep people safe. And so right out of the gate, I would just be like, these are the rules. And I wasn't trying to laugh and tell stories and be like, right? That came later. But out of the gate, this is life and death, right? And when I changed that approach to the people in my boat who are adults, I changed that approach to students and kids, to everybody. I don't need you to like me. I need you to not get me killed or kill me. I need you to think I'm a joke because I need your approval so bad. People-pleasing thing, it's deadly. It gets us killed. So, oh my God, look at him. Mouse. So I worked with all of these private schools in California. So like basically the richest people. Oh my God, what are you doing? Look at you. It's really hard to concentrate. It's hard to get work done with this dog. But when I worked for these private schools, I remember, when I worked with teenagers, we'd be on canoe trips and be time for lunch. And the guys would be like, aren't you making our sandwich? I'm like, why would I? I'm your outdoor leader. I'm not your chef. Here's your peanut butter and jelly and bread. Make it yourself. And they were shocked. Now, part of this is because they're not even used to their moms doing this for them. They're used to their nannies and chefs because these are literally like famous people's kids. Like, the richest Americans, U.S. Americans are the people who went to these schools. And I was fascinated because I was like, wow, this stuff starts so young, right? The boys didn't want to do anything, right? And then the only time they would lift a finger is to impress the girls. And the girls had already learned, the hot girls. This is what I was like, oh my God. The pretty girls, the hot girls, the ones who like all the guys were lusting over, those girls didn't have to do anything. I was like, no, you're going to carry your own canoe. You're not getting him to carry it for you. You can carry that canoe. Because I didn't like that the girls who were not like the hot girls were having to do all this work, where the hot girls had the boys doing it for them. But the boys were doing it as a transactional thing, right? And I was like, oh my God, I had to relive my teenage year when I was in science class. And one of my best friends was like the hottest girl in school. And I kind of like hid behind her because I didn't really want attention from men. So it was really not, I was like the cool girl. And she was like the hot girl. And even the teacher, one of the teachers, gave me A's because of proximity to her. Gave her A's. We didn't study for anything. And then all of the girls who were like the smart girls and the nerdier girls, they had to work the butt off to get A's. So they ratted him out. And I'm so glad they did because it wasn't fair. But I will say we paid a price for that. He literally would say, hey, shut your lips, both pair, to her, the girl with the big boobs. He insulted her. He hit on her. He did all that. So I actually got the best deal. I didn't get any of that. She got all that. And I got straight A's by proximity to her. Like, anyway, this stuff starts in the home. It gets worse in school. So is it any wonder we go out in the workplace and men are like, huh, they just assume they know better. They should get paid more, that they're smarter, that you're dumb. Even if you literally have like a PhD in something and they've taken one 101 class, they will explain. That is where this is from. It starts young. So it's like decentering men and the male gaze, right? It's not just about about dating. It never has been. That's just part of it. That's the place where we are most likely to get killed. So that's why I focus on it so much. But this starts in every area of our life. Decenter your dad. Decenter your brother. Decenter your sons. Right? Like, stop parentifying girls. Make pitting girls against each other. Now, a lot of times that is because of the boys or the man in the house. And I'm not blaming this all on women. I am saying that I don't think men are going to change anytime soon. Why would they? That's why we got to leave them alone, let them die alone. Then they may be like, crap, I guess I got to do something. The only people who listen to me mostly, except for some men who follow me, I appreciate you because you respect me and you come with a humble approach rather than like a know-it-all. You just listen and shut the fork up. Or if you add anything, it is like, you're not talking to me the way most men do. But I don't expect men to change. And it's not our job to change them. But if we stop enabling these men and these boys and stop treating them differently than girls, I can't tell you how much that's going to change. Let's stop focusing on changing men and we change ourselves and our behavior towards them. And the first step is awareness. How am I being a foot soldier for patriarchy and my own oppression? Am I birthing the next generation of abusers and king babies? That is a revolutionary act in itself. It starts at home.